welcome to Series 2 of my podcast Innervation, where we get to hear stories and experiences of incredible women in science and technology. Not only will you get insights into some fascinating innovations, but you may also even relate to their stories, especially if you're a little unconventional or non-conforming. As with all science and technology, what these women do for a living has a real impact on all of our lives, and we often don't realise it. But here on Innervation, I'm also giving women a platform for them to be heard and for us to be inspired and uplifted by what they've learned along their life's journeys, both personally and professionally. This week, I talked to Michi Benthaus, an aerospace engineering student.
My name is Michi Benthaus, and I'm an aerospace engineering student. I'm doing currently my master's at the Technical University of Munich, and did my bachelor's in Mechatronics.
Why did you decide to choose engineering?
I don't know. That's a tough question. I mean, also it took me a while to get there because I started to study economics after school. Yeah, I was like, maybe that's a female problem too, but I was scared to study physics because I always thought like I'm too dumb to study physics, which is kind of nonsense, of course, but yeah. But actually, I always wanted to do space stuff astrophysics or stuff like this. Yeah, because I think when I watched Star Wars when I was a little child, I was so fascinated about space stuff. Yeah, even though I know Star Wars is not realistic. But then I started with economics, but I thought like, okay, that's just not the right thing for me. I want to do engineering or stuff like this. Yeah, so I got into mechatronics.
I mean, for someone who doesn't think they're good at physics, the idea of studying mechatronics is really impressive. I mean, mechatronics is not even a word that many people are familiar with. So why did you think studying that would be a good choice for you?
It was more kind of a coincidence, I guess, because I was in Austria at this university studying economics, and they had no mechanical engineering there. And I just ran into some people who studied mechatronics there, and I was like, "Oh, I want to do stuff like this so much, and please show me what you're doing." And then they showed me some things, and I was like, "Yeah, I want to do this so much too." And then I decided to switch to mechatronics. And we have been a pretty small university, so like everyone was laughing about me, like, that's a girl which decided to go from economics to mechatronics. So I had a tough time in the beginning.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Like, what was it about mechatronics that you thought was really cool and you wanted to do?
The funny thing, it was what is it, like the technical drawings, right? Yeah, and now I just hate it. It was the thing I like the less. Together with material science, I like this both not very much. But yeah, someone just showed me like a technical drawing, and I was like, "Whoa, what's this? How is he doing this?" And yeah, I wanted to do these drawings too. So yeah.
You know, economics and finance and mathematics that's involved with kind of money, statistics is so not how my brain works. Same here. And I love applying maths to like understand that things are like going at a certain speed, at a certain angle, with a certain force, and like it's so real, you know. Yeah. But I understand the technical drawing side of it. I mean, using CAD, computer-aided design, is not easy.
Yeah, but I don't like it anymore. It was just my first impression. I just saw this drawing and I was like, oh yeah, explain me what it is about. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And now I'm like, oh, please. Yeah, I don't want to do any CAD drawings. So
how is the course going? Like, what are you enjoying and what are your future sort of hopes?
Yeah, so I've found for me that I'm more in between engineering and physics. So I like this how can I say, this combination of both. So yeah, for example, when it comes to aerospace, I like orbital mechanics a lot. It is like to calculate orbital maneuvers and stuff like this. And yeah, I think there's more math in it than in maybe other lectures. That's why I don't like material science a lot, because it's just learning it and remembering things. And I always like to have math and understand things. And I'm the sort of person who likes the physics too.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm also doing some astrophysics lectures. So yeah, kind of mixing aerospace with astrophysics.
I mean, space is a really exciting career to go into, especially these days where space is becoming very commercialized.
Yeah.
So what's the plan once you qualify? Like, are you hoping to go into some sort of space career?
Yeah, so I'm not sure yet what exactly I want to do, but I'm super sure that it needs to be a space-related job. That's for sure. And so as I told you, I like orbital mechanics a lot. And this summer I'm doing an internship at the German Aerospace Center in the field of flight dynamics, so which is kind of orbital mechanics. So I'm super curious how this goes. And so I think I need to do a Python programming task there, which is also pretty cool because I like programming a lot too. And that could be one path. Or as I told you, I like astrophysics also a lot. So maybe I would do a PhD in astrophysics. I don't know.
So it's pretty impressive for someone who thought they might be too dumb to do physics. Like, how does that work? Like, tell me what it is like sort of doing the things that you do, because from an outsider looking in, it sounds really impressive and really difficult. Like, is that your experience? Is it difficult?
You mean mechatronics, or the change from economics to mechatronics?
No, now you're studying mechatronics. Like, how is it for you?
Yeah, so for me, studying mechatronics and also aerospace is definitely kind of difficult. I mean, I think I'm average smart, so not this kind of person who is like super smart. So I really need to study for the lectures. But I think if your passion is big enough and you really like what you do, then it doesn't matter, and you will be good anyway in your field. You know what I mean?
Do you ever meet girls or women who feel that engineering is for men only?
I don't know. So I think I only know the woman who started with me. And obviously they thought engineering is also for them, but some of them just didn't finish their bachelor's and went to like law or something else. But I think there may be some girls who are thinking that engineering is not for them. And also I feel like there are a lot of guys who are super cool and who are super accepting girls in engineering, but there are also some who just don't do. Like, I had, for example, one experience when I started my bachelor's in mechatronics. We had a math exercise which we should calculate at home, and I did it on my own, and I was finished, and I just wanted to go to another guy who was studying with me, and just showed him my exercise and said, like, okay, can I just compare it with you, please? I have already calculated it. And he just said no. And I guess he would have said yes to me if I would have been a boy, maybe. So I think sometimes girls in engineering do have a hard time because they always need to prove themselves so much. And that's not pretty cool.
You're reminding
me. That definitely needs to change.
You're reminding me of those times when you're working so hard, you're trying to get good grades, you're trying to compete with your fellow colleagues, students, and there's just something that stops them from accepting us into the group.
Yeah.
And I must say that I've felt that a lot when I've been in engineering, where it just feels like no matter how hard you try, you're just not being accepted into the club, the engineering group, the club. You're not like one of them. Do you experience this? I'm guessing by the fact that you're like nodding away that you do experience this. And if so, how do you cope with it?
So yeah, I definitely experience it for some guys. So there have been in the beginning of the bachelor, there have been these guys who thought they are the smartest ones and they already made their groups. And I think they didn't let really girls in it. But there have also been other guys which, were more into partying and, don't took the studies too serious. But they totally accepted us. But this have been also the boys who just skipped after a while. So I had like in the beginning one other girl or two other girls who were studying with me, and we were a group together with some other guys, and all the other guys just gave up after like one semester or something like this. And the guys who were totally into engineering and who wanted to continue started to accepting us a little later. So when they saw like, okay, 1 year's passed or 1.5, and these girls are still here and they getting maybe good grades, and then they started to say like, oh, maybe we can study together. But in the beginning, I really needed to prove myself and show the other ones I'm here and I'm gonna stay.
And what advice would you give to young women who find themselves in a similar situation where they just feel like they're not being accepted into a group?
That's kind of a hard question, but I would definitely not give up. I think even though it's super hard to not give up and you feel lonely sometimes, I think it's getting better by time. But I think we just need to prove ourselves all the time. That's something which is hard to escape from.
I must say though, when talking to you, I really see someone who stands out, like someone who can really excel because you have kept going. I think people that have resilience and determination and passion for their subject will only ever succeed because, somehow you've gone an extra distance.
Yeah, that's true. So I think I'm a person in general who is fighting a lot for things which I really want. And also, if I really have a passion for something like I have for space stuff, I would kind of do everything to get in there. Not everything, but almost. But so I think the key is always just to not give up and be consistent with what you want to do. And then at some point it will work out.
Some people might say it's just too much hard work. Like, why would I want to do a subject that's hard, difficult to kind of be accepted in? There's probably not much understanding, if I want to maybe have a family one day, or, as a woman, we have to take that into consideration. Like, why do you bother?
That's definitely true. And I think there are also a lot of people, also maybe guys, but probably more girls who having this thought and thinking like, okay, maybe it's better to study something else than spending plenty of years and studying engineering or aerospace or whatever. And then in the end, maybe being not that accepted. And also I don't know how it's in the UK, but in Germany, women in like engineering fields are not as good paid as men for the most part. It's still an issue. So, and something, yeah, which is definitely not fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think so. I definitely continued because I want a job I like so much, and I can't think about anything else I would rather do than space stuff. So I thought like the whole effort and everything is totally worth it in the end.
Yeah, definitely. And what I see when I talk to you, and actually when I think about myself, is that you know, engineering is not something you can learn overnight.
Yeah, that's true.
It does take a lot of dedication and a lot of training. And after a period of time, you end up gaining this expertise that isn't short-term gratification. And so when I see what you're enduring, it just, these are skills and kind of talents that you're developing for your whole life, not just for a quick result. So, you know, when I talk to you, I'm imagining what my audience might be thinking when they sort of say, why does she bother going through all of that? But actually, I just see someone who is really carving out an amazing kind of career potential, because let's just say in 5-10 years you don't actually want to go into space as a career.
I mean, I think I can't. Do you mean if I want to become an astronaut or something like this?
No, if you decided, actually, I don't want to go into space as a career, like actually,
space sector, yeah.
I'd quite like to go into banking or something like that.
Yeah.
Like you still would have such an amazing CV.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm pretty sure it will never happen that I don't want to work in the space sector. I mean, I like robotics a lot too, so that would be my plan B. So if I need to write approval test for the University of Munich, and if I would have failed, I would have gone into robotics, I guess. Or at least for my master's, and then getting back like doing robotic stuff in the space sector. But so I think I will always want to do like technical stuff and developing things. But as you said, like getting through all of this and being still here makes me super self-confident. And that's definitely a plus point, because also, I mean, the people who are listening can't see, but I had an accident and I'm in a wheelchair, so I needed to go through this too. And I got pretty good out of this, and also I'm still studying what I want to, so it kind of makes me feel self-confident that I will get through everything in the end, that it just takes time, but in the end it will always work out, which is kind of a good experience, and no one can ever take this from me.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm definitely getting from you, is this kind of mental resilience, because, you know, challenges in life can either make us give up or make us stronger. Yeah. And I really see and hear someone who is very mentally strong. And that, you know, if I was an employer, I would want to hire people that have like strength of character and mind. And when you then have like technical qualifications on top of that, it's just such a powerful combination of things. Like companies can only benefit from employing someone.
Yeah, that's true. That's also my hope. I mean, I'm definitely not the best and the smartest one. Like, I think, you know, this too, there's every time some person who's smarter than you that will ever be like this. But as you said, like the combination of knowing how to figuring things out and getting through hard situations and problems and not giving up on this. Because also if you're working in a job, it can always be that there's a tough situation for a longer time, and nobody wants a person who just give up on the situation. So I think that's a skill which is definitely as much important as technical knowledge and stuff like this is.
What scares you today?
What scares me? Definitely to get other health problems. Like, as I said, I'm a Norwegian, I have a spinal cord injury, and it was kind of a hard time for me. And I lost like almost everything I loved. I was totally into sports, and so couldn't do much of this anymore. So I'm kind of scared that I could lose something else too, like working in the space sector, or like losing another passion. That's definitely something I'm scared for.
So as a result of your fears, like, what do you think is most important in life as a lesson for all of us to learn from?
I think there are a lot of lessons, but so when I had my accident, I thought back to what I've done before, and I was like, I had such a good life. I did everything I wanted. I mean, it was not always the straightest way, like studying economics before Mechatronics and stuff like this, but I always did what I really wanted to do. And so I think it's super important that you're trying to get out like the maximum out of every day, and that you have never the feeling you missed out on something. Because I thought like, okay, the years before my accident, I did everything I wanted. So I was okay with it. But I don't want to waste any time, and I think no one else should. I have so much going on, and also life in a wheelchair is kind of more exhausting than normal life. So
how long has your life been like that?
Since September 2018.
Okay.
So, like 3.5 years, or a bit more. And so I don't know, I have a lot of blood infections and need to take a lot of antibiotics and stuff like this. So it just, I feel like I don't have the same time to study like other people have, which is, kind of annoying, but it is like it is. So,
Well, what challenges we go through always makes us much more stronger as people. And I really, really see your strength of character, and it's very, very empowering to you, and just to see you there and everything. Like, it's just, I don't know whether you realize, but just by speaking up, you end up really lifting other women up too. And I think that's what's really important for women in kind of in areas that are very male dominated. I think it's really important to see other women doing amazing things, and so you're doing,
and to support each other. That's also a thing, that like, if we are not that many women in STEM fields, we should definitely support each other, and we are not like we should not work against each other. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
I feel that's our power to just work together against the men, and at some point they will accept us.
Well, this is what my main aim is of this podcast, because a lot of women think it's for women, but actually I hope more men watch it so that they can see that there are
Me too.
incredible women out there that are just as powerful, if not more powerful than men. Not that I want to like say men are better than women or women are better than men. I don't want to get into a gender debate, but it's so important to see women doing the things that you're doing, for example, because just by seeing that, it's like, wow, if she can do it, maybe I can. And then that might get more girls to follow in your footsteps. And, so I just think it's really, it's really important. So
yeah, that's why I'm using Instagram a lot too. I mean, not only for women and in engineering, but also, yeah, I also like to show that wheelchair people are just normal people, because some people are just underestimating us a lot. And I'm like, my brain works like the brain from a normal person. I'm as good as other people, and being in a wheelchair doesn't make any difference. So yeah, I think that's a additional topic for me, which I want to cover a little bit on Instagram. But also, yeah, I really hope that other people see like that it's no issue to work as a woman in engineering. Yeah, and that being in a wheelchair is also a handicap, but it doesn't keep you from doing this. So that's why I think Instagram is also pretty cool for stuff like this.
Yeah, and you speaking up about your situation is also really important, because I think a lot of people don't understand, because they don't relate. But when you speak up for yourself, people can hear your story and hopefully develop the compassion and empathy to say, wow, there's nothing that stops me from being in that situation or experiencing that. I mean, no one knows what's in their future. And so, I think it's really important, because sometimes we can live in a world that's so competitive, and we're always like trying to be better and trying to, and we don't stop and look around at other people and learn from other people's experiences and empathize. And, so I think it's really, important that you have spoken today, because just by having your episode will at least, give people a chance to hear you and hear you say, I'm like everyone else. Just because I'm in a wheelchair, it doesn't mean that my brain functions differently.
Yeah.
By hearing that, it's like, yeah, of course. Why would I have even thought that your brain functions differently because you're in a wheelchair?
Yeah, but people sometimes do. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't
unconsciously.
It doesn't happen pretty often, but sometimes on the street, people like talking to me like I'm not working, or like I'm a little child. For example, I was studying for the approval test for aerospace, and I just wanted to go outside for a little break because it was so brain fucked. And I was sitting there in the sun, and like a grandpa or something like this came to me and said like, "Oh, I'm so sorry that you're in a wheelchair, and what are you doing all day? You're not working anymore, right?" And I was like, fuck, I'm studying all day for this stupid approval test. Leave me alone. And that are situations which I just can't understand. And so
that's something that I'm working on at the moment, which is I'm really working on trying to have understanding for other people's ignorance.
Yeah.
So, like I'm living in Paris right now, and and like in the UK, especially in London, it's a very cosmopolitan city. So you get people from all over the place, like, all different skin tones, all different cultures. I mean, it's just so mixed. Whereas it's not really like that in Paris. And so sometimes, people look at me and think dark skin, and then they have preconceived ideas what dark skin means. And what I'm really working on at the moment is understanding that everyone's trying their best. And sometimes, it's just not, if people don't know who I am, or, I think also sometimes people can look at me and think, oh, she can't be very smart because she looks a certain way or whatever. Like, the things that you come across as well.
Yeah, that's super similar for us both, just because of different reasons.
Yeah, like the way you look, your image.
Yeah, the way you look, like, exactly.
Prejudge. And so what I am learning is that instead of getting annoyed by everyone, which is what has been happening a lot.
Okay.
I need to say, like that grandpa. It's like, okay, it's really sad that he is ignorant. It's really sad that he has prejudgments. And I think what's really, really a challenge is to not let his shortcomings or his incapabilities be your problem.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and don't let it come too close to you. Like,
exactly.
Just, say like, okay, this is his problem, his way of thinking, but I'm still as good as I was before, even though he said this.
Yeah, and it's really, really hard. But at the end of the day, it's for your benefit to think like that, because the other way is just, toxic for you,
It is, yeah.
And it's just, this is where mental strength comes in. And this is where you will have such an advantage, is that you get to exercise this mental strength, whereas a lot of people, may never learn these lessons until later in life, and you're learning them now.
Yeah.
And I can see the maturity in you. Because
and it definitely doesn't break me that fast. So if someone is saying something to me, I can just put it on the side, while other people maybe let it come super close to them and thinking for days about this. And so that's definitely a good thing.
Well, something you said in the beginning of our chat is, I don't know, I'm doing this because I just really enjoy it and it's what I want to do. And so I'm doing it. And it's like, wow, well done. Because some people spend their whole careers doing things because other people told them to.
Yeah.
Whereas you're doing something because you enjoy it. And that is the biggest lesson I've taken away from our conversation, is just do what is right for you, because that's all that really matters,
Yeah, and it just makes you happy, because I see so many people around me who are not in a wheelchair, who don't have the same problems like I have, and I feel like I'm so much more happy than them. And they are always like, oh, it's Monday again, I hate my job, I hate my life, and I'm feeling so happy, even though this wheelchair thing, that I think it's so important just to spend every day doing with something you really love.
Yeah.
Not something someone else told you, like you said.
And to appreciate that some days will be not so easy and some days will be, easier. But, ultimately you've been given a really good brain, and, you are using that wisely, and you'll probably end up having a career that achieves like incredible things. And, that's amazing. So
we'll see.
You are a total inspiration. It just fills my heart with joy to see someone who's really working hard for their future. Just by being you, I think, will really inspire so many others to follow their dreams. Because I don't think, often there's very little holding us back other than what's between here.
Yeah.
And so I really wish you all the best with getting into a career in space. I don't want to say getting into space, because I'm not sure. Do you want to be an astronaut?
I think I can't. Yeah. But we'll see. But actually, I am not sure if I want to be an astronaut. Of course, I think everyone wants to go to space, and so I would not need to walk anymore, which would be kind of good. But so I also like developing things, and I'm doing research and stuff like this. So I would love to go to space, but I'm not this kind of person who wants totally become an astronaut. I could imagine doing so much other things I would be as happy with as being an astronaut. So yeah.
Honestly, I don't understand people that want to go to space. Like, I don't get it.
Wouldn't you go to space if you could?
No.
Really?
No. I would want to travel around and see this planet because I just think there's so much to see on this Earth. And I have no interest in leaving the planet.
Interesting.
Like, I don't get it.
That's different for me. So I want to do both. I want to travel here and see this planet, but if someone just would say like, Michi, do you want to go to the moon? Yeah, I would definitely sign up for it.
Oh, gosh, no. Like when I see astronauts kind of like staring through their little window at the Earth and it's all tiny and far away, it just makes me feel so nervous. I would feel so trapped in that capsule. Like, I don't know. I just also feel like engineers, they have such amazing brains and they can problem solve and do, find amazing solutions. And I always feel like engineers can really do a lot here on this Earth to solve many of the challenges that we have. So, I look forward to seeing like what you do with your knowledge that you're building right now. And, from a lot of the conversations I've had and research I'm doing, space seems like such an exciting industry to go into because, there's so much to develop and discover. And I'm happy for you that you can be part of it.
Yeah, and it's getting more and more. I think we're totally in a time where space stuff is, getting more, and there are a lot of jobs. And so I guess it's a good time for me.
So last few words for any young girls that are watching you thinking, wow, she's so amazing. Like, maybe I could be like her when I grow up. Like, what would you say to them?
Yeah, definitely don't wait as long as I did with getting into engineering. Just sign up for it. And even though it's frustrating in the beginning and everything, just keep doing it because in the end, it's totally worth it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well done, Michi. That's awesome. How long have we been speaking?
I have no idea. Like, do you have a certain time which
I'd like to keep my podcast short, like 30 to 50 minutes maximum, but I feel like your story is very straightforward because you're very you're just really hardworking and you're just doing it,
Yeah.
So I think you've expressed a lot of wisdom in what you've said today, unless you feel like there's anything else you want to add.
No, I would need to think about it, but I think we had most of it in it. So
yeah, like there's no I'm just trying to think if there's any areas that we haven't covered, but
I think I think we covered most of it. So
yeah,
maybe we just missed something and we think about it like in the evening, like, oh shit, we missed out on this one. But
yeah,
for now,
I
think
so much like about, because you've really covered a lot, because you even talked about like a bit of your self-doubt, but yet you also talked about just sticking with it, even if you're doubting yourself, just keep going. So perfect. Thank you so much, and thank you for being so flexible with timing.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So for me, since I'm a student, and it's university is kind of a mix now for us. It's like online and in person, depends on the lecture. So yeah, it's kind of easy for me to be flexible. That's kind of good.
When are you going to go back to in person? Do you think you will?
Tomorrow I have a lecture in person.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's some lectures are still recorded on Zoom, and some lectures are in person. Depends on the professor. Yeah.
Well, your internship sounds so fun. Honestly,
Yeah.
I wish I had done internships during university, because I think if I had done more internships while I was studying, I think I would have really understood the importance of staying in engineering. Because what happened was I studied, did my doctorate, and then I was in industry, and I was like, oh my God, industry is so different to studying. And it just was like a shock, and I couldn't handle like all the guys, and so I think being in industry as soon as you can is such a smart move.
Yeah. I just wanted to figure out what I want to do, and of course to get to know people. I mean, like flight dynamics is not a big group at the German Aerospace Center, I think, and a lot of people want to work there. So I was like, okay, maybe if I can reach out to the people and talk to them, it's easier to write a master's thesis there if I want to. And that was my intention. And thankfully, I got a pretty cool project. I've only read the text, but it was written like it was in German, but it was like implementing a mission analysis tool for satellite constellations, which sounds pretty cool. So yeah, I think it will be interesting too. Not only good for networking.
Yeah. And I think it's also really useful to know what you don't want to do.
Yeah, that's true. Like economics.
Yeah. Or even like when you're there, because I'm a big supporter of apprenticeships.
What is that?
So apprenticeships, I don't know what the German equivalent would be, but basically it's not university. It's less academic, but you are based in industry, and you do a qualification alongside working. So it's actually quite stressful for anyone that does it, because they're working and studying, but it's less emphasis on theory and more practical.
I think I know what you mean.
Like Gesellwissenschaft or something like that? No.
I don't know. But it's more like, do you do your bachelor's too in this program? Like,
You can, yeah. You can end up with a bachelor's, but it takes like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, okay. Then I think it's a little bit different here, but you can do like a mix. So like studying, but also working all the time at the same company, and in the end you get your bachelor's too, and then your master's. Yeah. But you're working like a working student at this company all the time. So it's called like dualer Studiengang, whatever. But I think that's what you mean. I'm not sure. Okay.
I'm a big supporter of that, because all the people I know that do that, they all end up knowing exactly what they want to do in their careers, and they end up making amazing like networks. They end up speeding through their career, because like when you're a graduate, you need that experience, whereas with the apprentices, they've already got like 4 or 5 years experience and a degree. So I think for engineers, I think it's a really good idea. If you're not going to do internships, I think it's really good to do an apprenticeship, because otherwise you end up like me, where you have a lot of academic qualifications, but you don't really know the industry very well. Mm-hmm. So, I'm really happy for you that you're going to be doing that internship, because I think...
I also worked as a working student when I did my bachelor, so but in the field of mechatronics, of course, but so I do know the industry a little bit, but not that well, So.
Well, thanks for listening, and please do subscribe to this podcast, and maybe even rate and review it if you can. The more ratings and reviews, then the more interest from those trusty algorithms, which could help to increase the reach of this show. And you can watch the video recording of this conversation on YouTube on my new series called Esteemed. It's all about self-discovery, self-evolution, and inclusivity on innovation. Let's all strive to be in the best versions of ourselves and celebrate others being themselves too. As always, be kind and loving, and I wish you all a great week.